Dojima's kids arrived and announced an important event. The blue competition was approaching.
It's an abbreviation for a youth culinary competition aimed at creating a reputation for the world to know. They sure know how to seize the opportunity to organize things. They had no choice but to give up their summer to participate in this program.
It seems everyone is eager to participate in blue.
If they win this competition, their reputation will spread throughout the world, and everyone will know them.
But they're unsure who to send.
Tatsuki Academy is allowed to send 3 participants, or rather 4, it's just that Arena has already taken 1 spot.
The remaining 3 spots will be chosen later. It's not necessarily the Elite 10, this competition is for those with the ability.
So, tomorrow will be the preliminary round for students throughout the school.
The 3 most outstanding students will participate in blue with Arena. Without further ado, let's get to the preliminary round. Even though you already know who will participate, please continue to follow along.
This time, the judges will be from a wide range of ages. They will be evaluating on a scale of 10.
Who will be the one to cook a dish that pleases all the judges, from old to young, male to female? The theme is free, using the available ingredients in this competition.
Without wasting any time, the cooking competition begins. Everyone is trying to unleash their full potential, simply because the blue competition, with its world-class status, is the dream of any chef.
Let's quickly skim over a series of losing faces.
Before anything else, someone has already finished making soup.
Indeed, soup is an easy-to-eat dish that suits all ages and genders. However,
this soup is red all over with chili, so I'll pass.
Eating it will only make you scream and cry.
No matter how delicious it is, bringing it up first automatically leads to defeat. How many times have I said it without anyone learning from the experience?
Next up are more soups. Although very delicious, the judges still haven't seen anything outstanding.
They're all deliciously normal, without anything mysterious to explore. Here it is, finally seeing a soup with 3 colors.
Hopefully, eating it won't cause poisoning.
Next up is a two-tone soup. Like yin and yang, fire and water cannot be harmonized, but if you taste both, they're very harmonious. These kids are really amazing at cooking. I don't know if these dishes are real in real life or not. Slowly, now comes the unique dishes. This young lady likes science, so her soup is also special, but this test tube is not enough to even wet my teeth.
And there are some seeds that look like tapioca pearls.
Next is a soup made from expensive ingredients, king crab, salmon, and sea urchin, but I don't know if the taste is as expensive as it sounds. The dishes of the Elite 10 members certainly have a lot of differences.
Next up is the 5-spice curry soup.
Instead of putting it in a bowl, this guy makes a bread crust to hold it in, and you can slurp up the whole bowl. It's truly amazing. What's more, if you let them mix together, it will create a new flavor. It feels like you are in an open-air bathroom. I really like this dish. Next up is a soup from the Aldini brothers, but this soup is too strange. It's not in a bread, but it's a bread mama already.
It's getting more and more like some magical chocolate.
The younger brother made a dish that looks very cake-like, but it's soup. Just put it in your mouth and it melts and floods your mouth.
This is advanced soup cooking technique that not everyone can learn.
Next is the elder brother, not as elaborate as the younger brother, but still very artistic red, but not spicy, on the contrary, very sweet with tomato and cheese. I'm about to burst because I can't resist anymore.
Soma's turn is coming, it means the end is near.
He brings up a dish called Golden Lunch, seeing all eggs but no soup.
Is it another advanced soup? Next is Megumi's dish, which has just been completed. Another dish that doesn't look like soup, but in contrast to Soma's sparkling dish, this one looks boring and bland.
The judges start tasting Soma's dish, putting the whole egg in their mouths, after which it explodes in their mouths. These guys all inject and poke something in their cooking, and then when people eat it, it starts to explode and melt in their mouths.
But that's what makes it delicious. Soma's dish makes you feel like you're eating in a gold-plated restaurant.
Enough with the tasting, now it's time to announce the results to see who the 3 participants in blue are. Of course, the last 3 people to bring up their dishes, no need to guess anymore. However, the first seed is only ranked 3rd, he's 1 point behind Aldini, probably for elegance points. This guy is incredibly rude and always pestering people. Women and children are given priority, so Megumi is ranked 1st.
Although that's the case, it's due to her ability.
Megumi's soup looks very boring and not eye-catching, but the flavor inside each meatball contains a specialty from one region. Because Megumi has traveled to many places and learned many dishes from many regions, her dish is so unique, it reminds them of their homeland.
If you eat the whole bowl, it's like traveling around Japan.
A dish with such meaning is completely worthy of being at the top. Besides the top 3 chosen, the other people all have closely matching high scores, just a little short of being able to compete with the 3 chosen.
That said, they didn't even get their names read out. If you don't come in first, no one will remember your name.
A few days after the preliminary round, now the 3 people will prepare to participate in the blue competition well.
Megumi is still very worried. She can't believe that she was chosen to take the exam at all.
At this time, the two accidentally passed a class of first-year students. Suzuki was happy with the female students. Looking at this pile of snacks, it looks more like gossiping than teaching cooking. Soma thinks it's better not to get involved with this guy, but the teacher pulled him back and said that Soma could give the kids advice about high-level matches.
Once he's got the blood pumping, don't ask who his father is. Soma took off his shirt and got to work right away. After talking for a long time, the class was over, and he naturally became the class leader instead of teacher Suzuki. Waiting for the students to leave, the teacher spoke up saying he wanted to have shokyuchi with Soma. Of course, he doesn't fear anyone in this school. More than that, he wants to see how strong this teacher is. It seems he's hiding a secret. Soma said that if he wins, he wants Suzuki to reveal his secret, and the teacher just wants to let Soma know what the level of cooking is. His purpose in coming here is to approach Irina and make her his. Suzuki wants Irina to become his wife because only that god tongue is worthy of tasting the dishes he makes. This guy seems too confident. Soma doesn't give in either. At this moment, Irina passed by and heard the dispute between the two men. Well, she didn't hear the whole story and thought that the two men were in love with her, so the battle between Soma and Suzuki began. Before starting the match, the two sides exchanged conditions. If Soma wins, he wants to know Suzuki's secrets. On the contrary, if he loses, the teacher wants to take his knife. I don't understand much, but Soma still agrees because he thinks he can't lose. He starts making something related to pork. It seems like he's taking Aldini's ideas from the competition the other day. In the blink of an eye, he finished his dish, fried spring rolls with pork cutlets as the main ingredient eaten with cheese sauce. In this jar, you will feel its rich flavor. Well, no matter how delicious it is, if you finish it first, you still have to lose. This has been recognized by us for many years. Why is the cheese sauce black? Simply because it's black truffle cheese sauce and there's nothing to question. Megumi really can't be obtained. The dish that Soma made, this special combination has pushed the eater's taste to the extreme. She just wondered why the pork cutlet was so fatty, but when she ate it, she didn't feel it at all. Without even tasting it, Suzuki answered this question. The teacher was completely confident in his technique. That's because Soma fried the meat when the oil was still cold, then gradually heated it up and finally heated it up to the fullest, so that the outside will be crispy and the inside will be fully cooked. Soma has confirmed that Suzuki's words are completely accurate. He is confident that this dish will make Megumi unable to stop eating until it is finished. Now it's time for the teacher's dish. Unexpectedly, they look so similar. The only difference is that there is an additional sticky white layer covering it. Don't think wrong, it's just white sauce. The teacher has decided to make a dish that is similar to Soma's but at a different level, reaching the world, making the opponent admire and submit. The teacher also said that Soma's dish is just a popular dish served in a small store. Soma and Megumi immediately tried it to see if it was as good as he boasted. Indeed, it was the same dish, but vastly different. This dish was as if it transcended the world. Soma had transformed a pork dish into something light and not greasy, but this teacher's dish was even more miraculous. Not only light, but still with a touch of mystery, a feeling of both weight and airiness that allowed those who tasted it to experience both, the pork cutlet and this divine white sauce. Soma was left speechless. He had lost completely, and he knew it. Suzuki casually approached to take Soma's knife, but then he said that he didn't need it because this was just a flawed version. Soma immediately realized that the knife he was holding looked very similar to his own. It was his father's knife. Suzuki said that he had won it from Saiba in a match, and naturally, this was the reward. Soma couldn't believe what he had just heard. What's more, Suzuki revealed a little secret. His real name was Saiba Asahi. It was a total shock. He didn't know if he was a disciple or an illegitimate child of his father. Soma had only just learned this news and was questioning his whole life. He definitely had to go back and ask for clarification. Asahi went outside and still saw Irina lying there, probably still dreaming that she was a princess being fought over by two princes to marry. Her delusions of grandeur were so severe that she had become like this. When she woke up, Irina found herself in the arms of the victor. Asahi also did not hesitate to express his intentions. He wants to marry Irina as his wife, but what the purpose is, he certainly did not say, and of course she refused outright. She's still going to school, why marry? More importantly, she has someone in her heart already. Where is the redhead? Somewhere. At this time, he was going home to find evidence of his father's infidelity to see which mother Asahi was the illegitimate child of. After searching for a while and not finding anything related, Soma decided to call his father to ask, but he didn't expect his father to be standing below the door of his house already. The two fathers and sons had the most unexpected meeting ever. After listening to Soma's story at school, Saiba apologized for causing his son trouble. The story is that about 10 years ago, Saiba went to the US to play with a friend and his friend invited him to do charity work in an orphanage where he cooked and met Asahi. The boy always praised the dish that Saiba cooked as very delicious and often went to the kitchen to help.
Seeing Asahi serious and enthusiastic, the father was inspired to take him as a disciple, teaching him how to cook delicious dishes. Plus Asahi was also very talented, and it wasn't long before he was hired as a chef in a restaurant. That's also when Asahi asked to take the name Saiba as his surname. He agreed but then left without a word. It's really reprehensible to give people hope and then extinguish it. Saiba said that he realized he had a place to return to, so he couldn't keep wandering like that. That's when he had a family. And then just recently Asahi took the initiative to find Saiba and challenge him.
That's why he has Saiba's knife.
After listening, Soma understood roughly what was going on, but he didn't think it was his father's fault. If he lost to Asahi, it was his own story and had nothing to do with his father.
Soma vowed that next time he would win. That story was also told to Arina by Dojima over the phone.
Not only that, this head chef also learned more about Asahi. He is currently the leader of the Noir organization, known as a gathering place for dark chefs. Even this profession has good and bad sides.
Indeed, it makes sense. They're the ones who dare to break the rules to cook forbidden dishes, serving VIP clients in the underworld. Of course, they're going to be very wealthy. But what's worth mentioning here is that they've also been invited to participate in Blue.
The leader has already made that decision, so there's nothing else to be done.
What's the real purpose of this competition?
It hasn't been held for a long time, and suddenly, there are so many events this time.
Asahi is the leader of Noir, so he'll definitely participate.
Plus, he's working as a teacher at the academy and knows everyone's abilities.
This match looks very disadvantageous. While Irina was thinking, the lights suddenly went out.
Several strange masked men appeared from the window. They were from the Noir organization, and here was their leader, Asahi, saying that he wanted to challenge her and make a bet with Irina.
If Noir won in the Blue competition, Irina had to marry him.
It seemed that if he couldn't win her over with charm, he had to resort to these tactics.
He disparaged the entire Tatsuki Academy, saying that there was no one worthy of fighting him and that Irina was wasting her talent there.
As the headmaster, she was greatly insulted, so she immediately agreed and said that she would let him know what the level of Tatsuki was.
Asahi then took out a dish that was in a cage. The aroma alone was enough to overwhelm Irina.
Without even tasting it, she knew that if it wasn't a top-class chef with a lot of experience, they wouldn't be able to cook such a dish.
Her hands and feet were exhausted, and she couldn't move anymore. How could Tatsuki win if Noir was this strong?
Knowing that his son was about to participate in a big competition, Saiba also revealed a secret. The way to become the strongest super chef was to find someone to whom you wanted to dedicate all your talents. Fighting for others was when you became the strongest. Soma also said that he would take this opportunity to get revenge and defeat all those who had ever defeated him, hitting too many targets with one arrow.
Irina also decided that she couldn't lose this battle. It was for the future of Tatsuki Academy.
Finally, the day of the competition arrived, and unexpectedly, they held it in a castle and in the evening. In the past, they were always held in famous large restaurants.
Why was it so strange this time? Was this to stimulate the curiosity of the participating contestants?
A world-class competition was different.
And everywhere you looked, you saw people who were well known in the culinary world. You really couldn't joke around. If you were even a little careless, you'd be eliminated immediately.
The MC had already started explaining, but Irina was nowhere to be seen.
Could it be that she was afraid and didn't dare to come?
No, Irina wasn't someone who gave up so easily. The person organizing this competition said that this tower had 3 guarded gates, and all contestants had to pass through them to reach the innermost position.
That was when it was time to compete to choose the winner.
Before that, it was just challenges for them to get through those gates. The Noir group was also present.
Behind the masks and black cloaks, every one of them looked like they had a disability and couldn't dress normally, or were they afraid that others wouldn't know they were the villains?
Only the leader, Asahi, still looked like a normal person. Before they could even exchange greetings, he was already heading for the gate. Apparently, he had someone on the inside, so he was able to go straight to the 3rd gate. As expected of the Noir boss. The remaining members started at the 2nd gate. That meant that only the traditional chefs had to start from the 1st gate. At this moment, Irina finally appeared. No one knew where she had been hiding until now.
The contestants will be randomly divided into 3 groups and will have different challenges. Actually, there are 4, but the special one is reserved for Irina alone. Unlike Asahi, who has someone on the inside, it seems that Irina's own challenge will be more difficult than usual.
There's no point in worrying, they'll meet in the finals anyway. That's how it is in the movies, and it's not just me guessing.
Now, let's go to the first round. Soma's group didn't know what kind of competition they would have to face when their savior appeared. This noisy and arrogant girl is the judge of this group.
Although she's a bit cocky and bossy, she still explains things to everyone. Basically, their mission is to please another judge, Mr. Takuma, a terminally ill patient who used to be a former chef of Noir. Therefore, he's a very accurate and unforgiving judge. The theme will be the last meal to send him off as comfortably as possible. Originally, he thought that only death awaited him in the future.
But now he has the opportunity to enjoy delicious dishes from top chefs. What could be better?
It seems that he's very much looking forward to this last meal.
Because the theme is so broad, everyone is still confused about what to cook. The judge gives everyone 5 minutes to ask Mr. Takuma anything. Everyone asks questions like what is his hometown, favorite food, or hobby. Indeed, a dish from their hometown is the most suitable thing to make as their last meal.
But these noir guys didn't need to ask and were still confident that they would easily pass this round. Soma didn't want to ask either. It seemed like he was upset about something, probably upset because this program had arranged bizarre challenges that even involved other people's lives. After checking on his health, the competition began to time. They just needed to bring the food into the tent and satisfy him. And they would know whether they had passed this round or not.
Everyone only has one chance.
All of the first few people who entered were rejected. They didn't understand how the old man in there was scoring. They clearly cooked dishes that were easy for the elderly to eat and had the flavor of their hometown. Then, 2 noir members came out with a smile of victory. No one knew what they cooked, but it seemed very easy.
Soma was still just observing and hadn't taken any action yet.
Another noir member went in and presented his dish, a dish that was very delicious but too chewy and completely unsuitable for the elderly.
But Tokiyama was different.
He used to be a reckless chef who cooked for the underworld. A fearsome man, so ordinary dishes couldn't touch his heart. A good chef must know who they're serving, that's why Noir is so strong, surpassing the orthodox chefs now.
Now Soma truly shows his stuff.
He's very uncomfortable and can't stand it for another minute. He wants to let the old man know that this isn't the time to be pessimistic about death. The other contestants are all struck down one after another, only the 3 from Noir pass.
Soma is the last orthodox chef. Will he be able to pass this challenge?
He's so loudmouthed, but what he brings up is a dish that couldn't be more ordinary, the most ordinary of all the dishes just now. The old man is very annoyed now, but just follow the principle of eating it first and then striking it down. As soon as he takes the first bite, a frail old man suddenly becomes full of energy. Obviously, there weren't any ingredients in the ingredient storage that could make cakes. But for Soma it's too simple. He makes the dough himself and then casts it into the mold to get the cake crust. What's so difficult about that? What's important is the main dish hidden inside here. Well, I won't explain much about the ingredients and how to make it. What's important is that this old man finds it delicious and can't strike him down. It feels like he's reliving his youth.
Soma said that this is an appetizer that has been added to the menu in his future restaurant. He meant that this old man has such strong and white teeth. Why act like he's going to die tomorrow? Even if he can't cook anymore, he can still go and enjoy the cuisine in this world. What last dish of life? This is the appetizer for him.
When he's really about to log out, please come to Soma's restaurant, then he will really let him know what the last dish is like.
Tokiyama seemed to understand something. He was happy and let him pass. This first round is truly a round full of oddities.
Soma wondered if the other groups were the same, but Aldini's group cooked for the kindergartners, and Megumi's group cooked for the dogs. It couldn't be any more bizarre.
Is this an unstable cooking competition?
When everyone has finished the exam, it's time for Irina's first round to take place. She has to fight all the people who just lost in the first round. It looks like this is really stressful.
The gate has been opened and everyone is entering the second gate.
There were people who had been chosen to wait here, unexpectedly meeting an acquaintance. That red scarf couldn't be mistaken. It was the former first seed Aishi. He may look cool and composed, but he's fighting an intense inner battle. Meeting someone he knows in this strange place just makes him want to cry. Hey, receiving a special invitation must mean the old guys at Tatsuki are afraid Soma's group will be eliminated right from the start. After all, Aishi is the Academy's strongest card to date. The second round has begun. This time, it's a convenience store that seemingly popped up out of nowhere.
The organizer of this competition is really going all out.
It's that same sly girl again, here to explain the rules. This time, she herself will be the one tasting and judging.
The contestants can only use the ingredients available in the convenience store.
But the dishes they create must be worth over $100 to pass this round.
Since ingredients are limited, each person is only allowed a maximum of 2 attempts. Isn't this round just making things difficult for the players? How can you make an expensive dish with frozen ingredients from a convenience store?
The examiner doesn't explain anything further and the timer starts. Everyone rushes into the store to find the best ingredients, but how can you expect to find luxurious things here? Being told to cook a dish as expensive as French cuisine using these ordinary ingredients, this is truly impossible, but it's not difficult for Soma's group.
He and Aishi already have a personal match going on.
They're competing to see whose dish is worth more.
I think Aishi will make a Western dish again, that's his specialty. Soma isn't giving up either.
He goes all over the store to find his ingredients, then starts cooking right away and soon finishes his dish. He's the first one to finish again. This is bad. No matter how delicious it is, he'll still fail.
The examiner really appreciates Soma's dish. She even notices a very strange flavor that doesn't seem to be in the convenience store. As expected, Soma used the jam filling in the bread to create an innovative highlight. He's so awesome. How are the others even supposed to compete?
After thinking for a moment, the examiner makes her decision. Indeed, Soma's dish is worth over $100, but the amount of money spent on the ingredients exceeds the value of the dish. That's right, after deducting the cost of ingredients, the dish has to be worth over $100 to meet the requirements, and Soma's is in the negative.
Oh no. Luckily, he still has one more try to make up for it. Who told him to submit so early? Now it's Aishi's dish's turn. It looks so luscious and luxurious, just like something from a high-end restaurant in France. It's called a harmony of beef and chicken. You know what the main ingredients are already. This shimmering golden sauce is irresistible to the examiner. She wants to admire it while also devouring it right away.
It's truly wonderful, a harmonious and perfect combination.
The examiner feels like money can't buy the feeling she has right now. She's completely entranced.
Looking at how lost she is, you know whether it's a pass or not. As expected of the former first seat.
No one can believe he could make this dish from the ingredients in the convenience store. Soma also quickly rectifies his mistake with his second dish.
Aishi is like someone who can communicate with ingredients, so even if they're average, he can maximize their potential and bring them to their peak. That's why the examiner highly appreciates this dish. It's not just over $100 anymore. Aishi's dish is worth nearly $600, a number that stuns everyone.
It's unbelievable. Faced with this incredible pressure, can Soma overcome it? The examiner gives him some advice: don't try to use too many ingredients, it's just a waste. You need to find one main ingredient and make it as delicious as possible. But Soma doesn't bother listening to that advice. He's already decided what he's going to make. Many other contestants have been eliminated.
After eating Aishi's dish, this examiner really doesn't want to taste any other dishes.
None of them exceed the number 50, so this really is a difficult challenge. Quite a few opponents have been eliminated, that's not a small number. Back to Soma's place.
Contrary to the examiner's advice, he's carrying several big bags of ingredients.
Is he wasting money again? But Soma says he'll use everything and make the most of it all. No one understands what he's thinking.
All everyone sees is that he's mixing all the ingredients together, not caring about the main or supporting flavors at all.
Like a crazy person doing everything madly. But only differences make success. Finally, it's done.
When the examiner sees Soma bringing up the next dish, she criticizes him, thinking that only Aishi has enough talent to pass this round.
Soma doesn't care, just eat it first.
He's prepared a special multi-dish meal, and the amount is incredible. He's able to make so much in such a short time.
The examiner takes the first bite and doesn't see any difference other than the previous waste.
But to see where this meal is delicious, you have to try the other dishes. Although she's criticizing, the examiner can't stop eating. She's going crazy over Soma's special meal. Originally, this meal is made from high-quality ingredients and served in large restaurants, but Soma turned the ingredients in the convenience store into a special meal. Despite being annoyed that her advice was ignored, the examiner can't stop praising how delicious it is.
No matter the order in which it is eaten.
Good chefs often guide us through their dishes for the best experience, but this is a free meal, and no matter the order, you'll still want to eat the next dish.
After losing once, Soma obviously learned from his experience.
He's a talented chef, not an idiot who makes the same mistake again.
The examiner couldn't resist the attraction of this dish anymore. Soma wondered how much she would pay for this meal. However, she didn't have enough money in her wallet to pay Soma.
She only had 100, so she gave it all to him and ran away. I think this special meal is on par with Aishi's.
Aldini and Megumi also passed this challenge, not very impressively, but they're better than most of the players here.
Almost 90% of the participants were eliminated. As for Irina, she just defeated all the losers in the first round.
Exhausted and without rest, 90% of the losers in the second round came to challenge her again. This really is trying to make people lose from exhaustion. Soma is still sulking because he doesn't know if his dish is more expensive than Aishi's. Speaking of which, what about Jindo?
That fierce woman was also invited to participate, but she doesn't care. Jindo is only interested in rare ingredients, and it seems that the ingredients are becoming rare because of the excessive hunting of a certain group of people. It's said to be related to the underworld, so Aishi's return this time is to help his friend find out about it. The second gate has been opened and they're moving into the third gate. Here, some more chefs have been specially granted passage.
We don't know their strength yet, but their outfits are scary.
Suddenly, the organizer of the competition appears on the big screen. She wants to give an additional reward to the winner, becoming her personal chef. People who don't know might not think anything of it, but if you know, you'll see how wonderful that is. She's a big shot in the culinary world. Just cooking for her meetings would bring in a huge salary. This seems to be the most attractive invitation ever for the chefs here. There's another request. She wants to see the strength of those noir guys right now. I don't know why they're carrying a chainsaw. But why noir? The organizer of this competition says she's traveled the world eating every delicious dish, and now she's bored with the dishes of mainstream chefs. Recently, she's heard about the noir chefs serving in the underworld and is very curious. She wants to see the truth behind those stories. Now let's see how the chefs in the underworld will cook. The prepared ingredient is a regular piece of meat. How will she process it to turn it into a fine dish? Looking at the preliminary steps, there's nothing different, but the main highlight is the chainsaw she uses. She calls it her cooking knife, but any way you look at it, it's a dangerous weapon. She suddenly cuts up the piece of meat she just processed. But she's not destroying it. On the contrary, that's how she makes her dish perfect. On the outside, it looks no different from a regular grilled dish, but when you eat it, it's completely different. You can clearly feel the salty and sweet taste of each strand of meat. Not to mention, there are very special flavors interspersed within. The secret is in the chainsaw she uses. It's been seasoned with spices. She skillfully puts them into each strand of meat without ruining the dish. It sounds exaggerated, but it's true. No one in real life would dare to do this. Although it's unbelievable, this dish is too delicious. It's on a different level compared to ordinary mainstream chefs. It seems that after eating this dish, no one can confidently stand up to compete with them. Will this game quickly come to an end? Next is a bizarre clown from Noir. He prepares the meat as if he's performing a circus act, doing everything very quickly and skillfully. He's obviously doing something shady to fool the viewers. The secret lies in the round pot he uses. He spins it quickly and evenly, creating pressure inside that cooks the meat. This way, the meat will cook in a completely different way from ordinary pressure cookers. It's called a human-powered tuna, guys. Even Soma has to admit that the dish will definitely be delicious without even trying it. Next is another equally bizarre character. This one focuses on the deliciousness of blood. He can turn any kind of blood into extraordinarily delicious food. There are some dishes in French cuisine that use blood, but this guy is on a completely different level. All the noir chefs who came here have cooking methods that are unique to them. They are all masters in some respect, including that Miss Bunny or whatever. I thought she would cook a light dish, but no way. What's with the bulging muscles and the use of a guillotine? But I have to admit that the slices of meat are thinner than writing paper. The taste must reach the extreme of perfection. See? Successful people always have their own way. All the noir chefs have been approved without a single minus point. Now it's the turn of the mainstream chefs. Aishi also thinks that he just needs to create an outstanding dish. Aldini and Megumi have also come up with a unique dish. Hopefully, they can succeed in competing with the noir chefs. Aishi is impeccable. His technique of communicating with ingredients lets him know exactly what he should do with them. But other than the people from Tatsuki Academy, almost everyone else is shaking their heads in despair. What kind of competition is this where the organizer and the participants are so strange? What about Soma? He's still thinking because he doesn't have those special knives to process. Okay, Soma decides to make something really delicious. And then the results come very quickly. All 4 people from Tatsuki Academy pass and enter the final round, the round to find out who is the champion. There isn't a competition list for the contestants to prepare in advance. It's like taking a literature exam where you have to study everything because you don't know which topic will come up. Meanwhile, Irina has just won against all the losers in the second round, but she doesn't get any rest. 99% of the losers in the third round come to seek another opportunity. Can Irina hold on any longer? Let's get to the first match of the final qualifying round. It sounds illusory, but whatever. From now on, they will compete one-on-one to find the most talented person. In the first match, the chainsaw girl, Sage, will be Soma's opponent. I don't know if it will be okay to fight in the first match. But no matter what, he can't lose. He has to win the championship, not because he wants to cook for the organizer, but because he wants to take revenge on all the people who have defeated him. Asahi, the one who is here, is among them. First, he has to defeat all his subordinates. The first match has the theme of Christmas cake. Everything has been strange from the beginning, so when I hear about this theme in the middle of summer, I'm no longer surprised. The match begins. Sage uses her chainsaw again to replace the mixer. However, this time she has changed the saw blade to suit each dish. Even so, this is still an art in cooking that has never been known before. The chainsaw is not enough. She also uses a sledgehammer to crush chocolate. Oh my god, how can you treat ingredients like that? Couldn't you just break them normally? Finally, there's the baking stage. instead of waiting in the oven for a long time.
Sage uses a bomb. That's right, you didn't miss here. The temperature from the explosion will complete her cake. Everyone witnessed a cooking show that couldn't be more flamboyant. After the explosion, Soma is nowhere to be seen. Could he have been blown away by the bomb?
No, he was just leisurely buying something at the convenience store.
That's really surreal. Sage's Christmas cake has been unveiled. It looks very attractive, and the taste must be very delicious.
Indeed, although it's processed in a very violent way, each bite of the cake is very light and elegant.
Not only that, they can also feel the way it's made.
The sounds of explosions in the mouth and the overflowing milk are just like how Sage used a bomb to bake the cake. She used all the fragments to decorate the cake, making it even more special.
A cake with nothing to criticize. However, the one who submits first is always the loser. Let's see what kind of cake Soma will win with.
He went to the convenience store to buy a chainsaw for a solo battle, but looking closely, it's just a wooden ice cream spoon.
You're tempting me to chop off your head. Soma proceeds to make his summer Christmas cake.
He declares that he will create the most delicious cake for this bizarre theme.
Because it's a live cooking competition, many special recipes are shown, and everyone is amazed by Soma's boldness in combining ingredients.
He also uses red charcoal to bake the cake, which will make the cake much softer and fluffier than a regular oven.
After just a moment, Soma's cake is complete. It looks like it has more artistry than the other cake. Let's see what its flavor will be. Not only did he create a unique shape with a log, but Soma also added 2 firecrackers on top, for some unknown purpose.
He broke the wooden spoon in half to create rough patterns for the log.
That small thing has created a work of art.
Now, let's taste what it tastes like. At this moment, his father, Saiba, is also watching his son through the big screen. Of course, he doesn't think his son will win against the top-class chefs of Noir.
But that's other people's children, not his own.
The first judge has just tasted it and feels like he's in heaven, saved by God, and arrived in a new land where there's this amazing cake everywhere he goes.
The others also can't resist one by one.
They feel that there's something very strange inside this cake that they can't figure out. A sweet and delicious taste, without being greasy. That's because Soma made the cake without using sugar, a very difficult method to implement.
The reason is because it's summer.
If sugar is used, the sweet taste will be very heavy and bring a hot and uncomfortable feeling.
Soma uses the sweetness from fruits, which will bring a light and refreshing feeling.
Those things are hard to believe, but Soma has really done it. It seems that it will be difficult for the judges to evaluate because the two seem to be equal. Sage doesn't believe that Soma made a cake that's on par with hers.
The ingredients he used at the convenience store are too ordinary.
Yeah, it's not the same level, it's just better.
Okay?
His cake still has the firecrackers on top that haven't been used.
Soma just pulled the pin, and something just broke.
It's still the familiar transformation trick that he's done many times, but no 2 times are the same.
They're all like new.
The shimmering cream flows down and spreads evenly across the cake through the lines that Soma has drawn.
It looks very artistic.
Another reason for Soma not to use sugar is that in this newly frosted cake, he wants everyone to feel the sourness of the tangerine and the bitterness of the coffee more clearly.
That's why it's refreshing and very suitable for summer.
Compared to a cake like that, Sage doesn't stand a chance. Although Soma only heard a few baking theory classes, he is where he is today thanks to his father, Saiba. Before he entered Tatsuki, his father stuffed his head with unique knowledge and always made him make dishes that seemed impossible.
And Soma did very well.
So, even though it's just a small, ordinary store, the chefs and their dishes are not ordinary at all. Seeing that Sage doesn't seem to believe it, he invites her to take a bite and lose willingly.
Don't be bitter. Sure enough, it's on a completely different level. Her body has never reacted so violently before.
It's similar to the feeling when she ate Asahi's dish. He was the one who saved her and put her on the path to becoming a Noir chef.
Now, she admits defeat. The cake is so delicious that Sage trembles and collapses. Winning the opening match was too easy for Soma. Good job, son. It seems like Aishi's turn is next. His opponent is none other than the leader of Noir, Asahi.
Just now, he didn't intend to fight Aishi and asked another member of Noir, but it seems that these guys aren't as loyal as Sage, so no one wanted to help. I don't think someone as strong as him would be afraid to face Aishi. As always, he wants to bet with his opponent.
If he wins, he'll take Aishi's special knife.
For a chef, of course, a personal knife is something to be proud of. Aishi doesn't understand why he wants it, but losing it would be a great humiliation for a chef. He thinks he just needs to try his best not to lose. The theme is chicken, and the second match begins.
At this moment, Soma is fighting an intense inner battle.
He wants to fight Asahi, but he doesn't want his senior to lose. Well, let's just wait and see who brings up the dish first, and that person loses.
It's that simple.
But worrying is useless, so let's just sit and watch them cook. Aishi is still immersing himself in cooking in a relaxed and comfortable way. After so much time, his skills have surpassed what they were before. Not only does he understand the ingredients better, but now Aishi is also like becoming one with them. No one understands himself better than himself. But don't underestimate the opponent. This Asahi is not someone to be trifled with either. He just pulled out a lot of special knives that are incredibly bizarre. Perhaps he only intended to borrow the knives just now, but because they didn't help, there was a quick battle, and now he owns them all. Asahi has a skill similar to copying. When he holds someone's knife, he will acquire that person's skills and use it skillfully to an unbelievable degree. That's why he criticized Soma's knife, because he already has his father's knife. Above all, he can use 2 different knives in both hands to combine them and create a special dish. It's as if the more knives he has, the more versions this guy has to use flexibly. Why is there a skill from Chinese sorcerers in a cooking movie like this? How can anyone play against that? After a while, almost both of them finished their dishes at the same time. Both dishes look delicious and eye-catching, but you guys can predict who the winner is in this match, right? The judges decided to try Asahi's dish first. The grilled spring chicken made everyone who tasted it explode with its flavor. I don't know why the judges didn't talk much about this dish and switched to Aishi's dish. In the previous round, he made a high-class dish with only the ingredients at the convenience store. How delicious can it be this time? It's on a completely different level from before. This is food for God, for the deity. Humans are not worthy to eat it. It's so light and elegant that everyone is saved. Just when it seemed that Aishi had a sure win, there was a comeback. Although Aishi made better use of what the ingredients offered, the dish was very delicious, but for some reason, after eating it, the examiner only craved Asahi's dish. How did he do that? The secret lies in the knives he uses. The highlight that makes others crave it is blood, turning pig blood and chicken blood into something delicious and becoming a highlight hidden deep inside the roast chicken. Using many skills of the top chefs at Noir, he has created a unique dish that surpasses the boundaries of class. There are no words to describe it anymore. Ignoring the taboos, this is the food served in the underworld. Aishi has lost completely, and now the skill of communicating with ingredients that he spent his youth cultivating has fallen into the hands of another. It's very frustrating, but there's nothing he can do. Soma vows that he will avenge his senior. That guy didn't take his knife, and he will use it again to win. Let's move on to Aldini's next match. The theme this time is a team battle, so they're allowed to call in support to cook with them. It seems that the other guy has a lot of teammates. However, Aldini only needs his younger brother. These 2 brothers have been very famous recently. It's just that it's almost time for the competition, but his younger brother still hasn't shown up. It's likely that this guy's people have played a trick so that he can't come. Of course, it's not serious enough to be murder because this is just a normal cooking competition. Aldini's friends also split up to look for him, but strangely enough, even if they follow the map, they always end up in a dead end. Something weird is happening here. It's time for the competition, but his younger brother still hasn't appeared, and the opponent keeps teasing him, making him feel angry. Aldini knows it's their trick, but he doesn't know what to do. The match is still going on. He calls out his super product teammates. I know it's been a long time since I went to the eye doctor, but if my eyes are still normal, then it seems like this is a bunch of sissies, right? Why are they dressing and talking like they're gay? That old man's taste is really salty. He's only picking up weird things. However, that's not the important issue in cooking. He starts directing his subordinates to make the dish while Aldini can only stand and watch. But I have to admit that these guys are working hard, but is this a bar? Why are they using this technique? Could they be making the sauce this way? The old man says he's going to make a fruit smoothie, such a simple dish. Why call so many people to make it so elaborate? Is he planning to invite all the viewers here or what? But no, it's all just for the 3 judges here, and the 3 smoothies he brings up are really special. In the drink shops, people at most make 3 layers that are very special. Why do his cups look like hundreds of layers? More importantly, even with that, the appearance is still very beautiful and luxurious. He says to enjoy the 3 cups in order and make sure to eat each cup in only 10 seconds. Will that affect the taste? Even though they're cut into small pieces, why are they still sticking together? The taste is also very captivating and fresh. If you can eat this in the summer, you can replace rice with it. The taste has all kinds, from fruits to herbs to vegetables. It's like you're being strolled in an ecological garden full of nutrients from nature. Each cup expresses its own deliciousness. Each layer in it also expresses its own essence. I don't know how to describe it, but this is really a one-of-a-kind smoothie that exceeds all expectations. No shop can make a smoothie that is more delicious than this. The secret lies in this group's shaker. The inside is specially designed so that each shake creates a layer. If this is a battle about the number of flavors, then this old man is overwhelmingly ahead.
If he's so confident about winning, why did he have to kidnap Aldini's younger brother?
Now that he doesn't have a supporter, he can't compete with this hateful old man.
Just then, Soma walks in.
It turns out that not only his younger brother, but Aldini's friends can also support him very well, at any time.
If you have to kidnap all of his friends, it will take a lot of effort. Is this old man afraid of losing that he's objecting so fiercely?
To make things fair, the organizer herself will review this. The purpose of this team match is for the contestants to fully show their abilities, so even if they change supporters, it doesn't matter. So, Soma will support Aldini in this match, and it's almost certain that they'll win, guys. The old man confidently says that he has already researched Aldini. If he doesn't have his younger brother to perform his famous special move with that knife, he can't compete with his dish.
However, he was wrong. Soma can also use that huge knife skillfully.
These two are too busy arguing to care about what the old man is saying.
I don't know if leaving them like this is okay.
Seeing Megumi worried, the two laugh as if nothing is wrong. There's only a little time left.
Will they be able to make a dish that can defeat the old man?
Of course, they can if both of them are highly focused. Then, the two of them make the crowd exclaim non-stop.
The speed of their coordination is so fast that the naked eye can't keep up. Look at what they've just prepared.
Aldini with his spinning knife technique that's like a whirlwind, but every cut is precise.
This is too familiar. It's Soma's turn.
It's unbelievable that he can also use it like a stamping machine that cuts with speed and precision.
This is what the old man didn't expect. That's because in the summer of that year, Soma and Aldini spent their youth competing in cooking, and of course, Soma challenged him using Aldini's signature knife.
The two of them couldn't determine the winner, but both of them improved a lot during that time. That's why Soma uses this knife so skillfully, coordinating with Aldini no less than his younger brother.
After a while, the two of them finished the smoothie. It looks like one color, but it's not. It's two colors, yin and yang, the 5 elements. I don't know what it means.
At first, the judges tried each side one at a time, not daring to combine them because they wanted to feel each flavor.
Sure enough, each side shows a very unique and characteristic flavor.
They didn't think that combining them would create a delicious dish.
Everyone thought that the two of them cooked without coordination and couldn't be as good as the Aldini brothers combined. But looking at the faces of these two guys, does anyone see that they're losing confidence?
If anyone has any doubts about this dish, they can taste it for themselves. The old man and the 3 judges decided to try combining the 2 flavors together. A completely new flavor explodes in their mouths, and there's even the taste of soft-shell turtle. In short, they couldn't believe that they could combine so perfectly. Never in their lives have they tasted such a different feeling. The judges' reaction makes the entire stage stir with curiosity about the taste. The old man also can't believe his tongue anymore. It's irrational that those flavors, which weren't meant for each other, can now combine to create a masterpiece. Although he doesn't understand why, this is the undeniable truth. He has completely failed in this battle in every aspect. The number of people doesn't mean anything either. Just then, they also received a new report. The chef who fought single-handedly against all the losers, Irina, has won after all 3 rounds.
Perhaps now she is officially in the final round to participate with Soma's group.
Irina alone did not give any other chef a second chance.
All lost wholeheartedly to the one with God's tongue.
After 3 consecutive tiring matches, she didn't want to answer the concerns from her friends anymore.
Irina went straight to the tower where the final match was taking place. She must get there and win.
Sure enough, Irina still had the strength to fight, another easy victory for her, but everyone noticed that she was different from usual.
Could it be that the battle was too fierce, causing her to change her temperament? The next match is Megumi's turn.
Her opponent is a talented chef from Noir.
That scary mask must have just come down the mountain to practice. He is Duyoang. Quite famous in the underworld culinary world. The knife that he uses is also quite strange. It's a set of claws, and according to the tradition of the family, it is used for assassination missions, not for cooking like now. What a great price/performance ratio, right? Let's see how both of them will handle a quick meal that must be completed in 15 minutes. Duyoang uses his technique to quickly remove tendons in the meat. Not only that, but he also skillfully infuses the spices that have been prepared in each claw. If you don't have a good foundation from the family, ordinary people can't do that. Moreover, his forte is using the toxins in the ingredients to turn them into delicacies. I don't know what dish he will make with this theme. But it doesn't matter what dish it is because the winner is Megumi. She simply made a mixed fried rice, and that's it, a victory that couldn't be easier. I had to remember that hard-to-remember name, but it was only mentioned once. So, the final match of the qualifying round has ended. The next day will be the next round. However, from yesterday until now, no one in Soma's group has met Irina to ask about it.
Perhaps she's depressed because of this competition, or she's hiding an ace card that she doesn't want to reveal.
Either way, it makes people very curious.
I don't understand why Soma thinks that Irina is in the castle to talk to the organizer, but that's exactly the case, but they're not cheating on anything.
On the contrary, Irina came to declare that she will be the champion of this competition.
The organizer deliberately made things difficult to eliminate her but failed. Soma's group standing outside heard the whole story.
The organizer of this competition is none other than Irina's mother, Mana.
Originally, she didn't want Irina to participate in this competition because she didn't want the appearance of that god's tongue. Having it in her body is already a greater advantage than other chefs. The daughter declared straight to her mother, "You just wait, I will win for you to see," and then she walked out without even looking at her friends.
You spit or I spit. After that, everyone witnessed an unfavorable scene. Mana has to absorb nutrients through and for drip. Could it be that she can't eat anymore?
She also told Aldini, Irina's opponent tomorrow, "Do everything you can to remove God's tongue from this game."
Everyone doesn't understand why Mana said that. Could it be that the two mothers and daughters hate each other to such an extent? But the underlying reason is not like that.
Mana also possesses the god's tongue inherited from the family, but it is also a double-edged sword that puts her in the situation she is now in. That tongue makes too high demands, so she only wants to vomit whatever she eats. So now it's best not to use that tongue to eat anymore. It quickly came time to fight each other. Today, the two matches of the second round will take place at the same time. On one side is the confrontation between friends, and on the other, Megumi faces the most difficult opponent ever, Asahi, the leader of the Noir Chef group.
The unprecedented tension makes the friends not know who to cheer for.
They just hope that both of them can show their full potential so that there are no regrets. Before the match began, Asahi and Irina had a private conversation.
Megumi wanted to talk to Irina, so she accidentally overheard the conversation. Roughly, this Asahi guy had learned about Mana's true identity.
He said that he would win this competition and satisfy Irina as she wanted,
raising God's tongue to a new level.
Although she doesn't like her mother very much, but when someone messes with her family, she can't let it go. Irina warned him not to dream of winning this competition because she herself is the one who will do it.
After saying that, she left.
Megumi was worried about her friend, so she spoke up, but this Asahi didn't pay attention to her and didn't say much. Megumi had to propose a shokyuchi with him.
If Asahi loses, he will have to leave and not harm Irina anymore.
Conversely, he also wants her to stop playing with Irina if she loses. This already tense match is even more tense.
The match quickly begins. Aldini doesn't need to rely on his younger brother and will fight on his own.
But I don't understand why she has a frown on her face and is uncomfortable, talking like she wants to punch each other in the face. In Megumi's arena, they will use this cheap ingredient to prepare a fine dish.
Asahi took out the two knives of the one that Megumi defeated. He will use those knives to win. Irina and Aldini will compete with lamb.
The chef battle begins.
Everyone is focusing on making their dish, and the atmosphere couldn't be more tense. Megumi has experience from going all over the world.
She will know how to process the ingredients to be the most perfect, but that guy is not just anyone.
He is an outsider but uses the knives of Duyoang skillfully. This skill is not human anymore, a terrifying power that the author has buffed too much. What about Irina?
Looking at that serious face is enough to understand that there is no friendship here anymore.
In a fair battle, there is no favoritism, but possessing God's tongue is already better than others.
Her dish has been completed.
Looking like this, I don't know how to describe it.
Cold, freezing the bird, or what, but in short, it's delicious, and the viewers are conquered.
Aldini also admits that it's delicious, but the new year hasn't come yet.
He's confident that his dish will melt all that ice.
It's also delicious, but it's not enough. Aldini's flame had just flared up when it was extinguished. Another easy victory for Irina. There is no concession here at all.
It feels so strange. Moreover, she is a little strange when she tries her own dish.
Winning without feeling happy. Irina is starting to not keep up with her tongue anymore. Let's go to Megumi's match.
At this moment, the judges are all praising. Why can this cheap meat be processed to be so fragrant and eye-catching? The dish that Asahi made deserves to be served in 5-star restaurants.
He's still being modest.
He just took one bite and wanted to show off to the whole world. The more he ate, the more he craved it.
I don't know how he can elevate this meat. That's the secret of the claw knife. He skillfully processed each small piece of meat.
Usually, mainstream chefs have to prepare for 2 months for this process, but Asahi can shorten it to just the cooking time. Not forgetting to brag about his talent for being able to make a more delicious dish than Aldini and Soma's yesterday without breaking a sweat.
Whatever successful people say is right, so we have to put up with it. Now it's Megumi's dish's turn.
It looks no less elegant than in a luxurious restaurant, and the flavor is also very elegant. At first, it was difficult for the judges to evaluate these two dishes. Megumi also brought this cheap meat to its peak, but in the end, it couldn't compare to Asahi. With two skills from two different chefs, he creates many higher-end versions,
which can be said to be infinite. Megumi had to admit defeat with regret.
The audience all had to acknowledge Asahi's talent and thought that he would be the champion of this competition.
Of course, it's not just boasting without real ability.
Asahi told Mana that he was fully capable of creating unique dishes that would satisfy her stubborn tongue, but he wanted to have an additional right after winning this competition. It was not outside of Mana's predictions, as she already knew that this guy was pursuing her daughter, and he must want to ask for Irina's hand in marriage.
I don't know what his intentions are. After that match, Asahi and Irina had a private conversation. He kept putting pressure on her and advised her to surrender. Only by coming to his side would she be happy, because Irina's tongue was starting to show signs of turning against her. Hearing these things, Soma couldn't remain silent anymore.
He said that he was the winner of this competition and no one else, even the leader of Noir with so many top skills, couldn't beat the main character.
It seems that Soma knows his position and power very well. Meanwhile, Megumi only thought that if Asahi won, the two of them would get married.
She said that she had a shokuchi with Asahi and lost, but the deal had been changed.
Megumi didn't need to stop playing with Irina.
But she had to congratulate the happiness of this wedding.
This is really a life shock for a second-year girl. But Irina wasn't worried about that.
What she was struggling with in her heart was doubting her own strength and even hoping that Soma would lose to some extent. After all, no matter how hard she tried, her god's tongue couldn't satisfy her mother's god's tongue, but with Asahi's top copying skills, it was different.
He could constantly make unique dishes to satisfy the two cursed tongues of her family. Sooner or later, Irina would have the same situation as Mana now.
But Soma will fight him before fighting her, so he won't be weak and give in like Irina now.
If she fought with him, she would definitely let him win. Because even if Irina wins, she can't improve her mother's current situation, only Asahi can do that. Hearing her complain until now is enough. Soma lost his patience and said that it had nothing to do with him. According to his plan, Soma will defeat both Asahi and Irina to win the victory. After saying that, he went home to rest for the match tomorrow. Even though he said those heartless words, he was still very worried about his friend. What kind of person is that? Sometimes strong, sometimes weak. He only found it annoying to possess that harmful tongue, and he would be the one to relieve that. The next day, the final round of the competition continued. Through the spectacular matches, both sides of the arena were ablaze with the enthusiasm of the super chefs. Everyone tried their best to win. The chefs of Noir were still as strange as ever, but the dishes were impossible to criticize. But Soma still kept defeating those dark chefs. What kind of dish looks like the seed that I used to soak when I was young? Soma's group now only has 2 people, but the fighting spirit is only left with 1. Both Irina and Asahi are winning consecutively, which is not difficult to guess as everything is going according to plan. Join me in seeing what tricks these 3 will have that make us guess wrong. In the next round, Soma will fight with Asahi before fighting with Irina and winning. Maybe he's preparing what's needed for this match. But the truth is that he's not doing anything. He wishes his dad was here to practice a little more, but maybe it's not necessary because the two of them have fought each other more than 500 times since they were young. Maybe that number is enough, no need to practice any more matches. Before their match took place, Irina had won all the opponents on the other side of the field to advance to the final match, but this made her look more fearful than ever. Now is the match between 2 rivals. One side is the son, and the other is the only disciple of Saiba. If it's me, I will of course support my son. The audience seems to be leaning towards Asahi as they keep shouting his name in the night. It must be because he possesses great skills and shows them off very well, while Soma is a mainstream chef. He can only do his best. Soma doesn't need many words with him. He says that even if he wins, he can't make Irina happy. Asahi took out Saiba's knife and said that Soma would never surpass this perfect version. But for him, this is also an opportunity for him to defeat his father. To encourage this fighting spirit, Mana decided to create a special theme for the two of them. That is to combine the culinary quintessence of the world into one dish, creating true beauty right here. It can be understood that the two need to combine the best dishes from 5 different regions, from the spicy dishes of China to the dishes in the West. I don't understand what the crazy theme is anymore. Each dish has a different way of processing and cooking. Cooking 5 dishes at the same time is already difficult, not to mention combining them into one dish. The match will last 3 hours from now on. While Soma was still thinking about what to cook, Asahi took the lead. He has all kinds of knives and skills needed for all kinds of dishes, if not to say that he has too many. In an instant, he had finished slicing all the onions and vegetables to make the broth, then quickly used another knife to cook a dish from India.
The impossible is happening right before the eyes of the audience, making them exclaim in admiration.
Asahi has turned into the national husband and is simultaneously steaming a pot with cakes from China.
Combining this dish with another by cooking with special and unique knives is more like it. Although I hate it so much, everyone has to acknowledge his talent. I don't know if he recharged VIP or turned on hacks. But he uses those knives even more skillfully than their owners. Even Aishi's knife is used perfectly. In no match have we witnessed so many ways of processing. It's extremely elaborate and ostentatious because he's just forcing others to compete and seizing their tools. After all, he's still alone on this path.
But Soma is different.
He has practiced and competed a lot, communicated and learned from countless opponents, so for him, experience is paramount. So even if Asahi possesses a lot of unique knives, in fact, the two are still walking side by side.
Soma's job now is to break through and surpass him.
Behind him, there are still many close friends who are trusting and cheering him on.
Soma knows what he should cook to win and satisfy those two tongues. The battle is now really beginning. Let's see who will get everything after this battle.
Gazing and contemplating for a while, Soma finally decided on the dish he wanted to cook, not one dish but 5 dishes. Instead of preparing ingredients from each place, he would cook them completely. After having enough 5 of the best dishes in the world, he would mix them together to make a complete dish. This is almost impossible because each dish has different characteristics and may not be delicious to eat, let alone combine.
This is a very risky move, but that's how Soma is. If he doesn't overcome this challenge, how can he cook a dish that satisfies Mana?
No one dares to confidently say that they can make so many dishes in such a short time, but if he succeeds, Soma will shock the world with this dish. He starts working right away, both French and Italian sauces with many Chinese ingredients.
Soma is really cooking 5 dishes at the same time right on the field, and I haven't seen this guy joking around. He doesn't forget to open with the flavor of India to create a highlight. This will probably be a new dish that will be added to the menu of Soma's restaurant later. Even though he is tired, Soma is still moving forward, not allowed to be slow or neglectful for a second. Otherwise, everything will be ruined, and he won't have time.
To achieve this speed, he practiced very hard after challenging matches, not going to steal like someone else.
It's so fast that people see many Somas cooking together.
The important thing is that he always keeps a smile on his face no matter what the moment is.
Upstairs, Irina is still watching his match.
She doesn't know whether she should cheer for him to win or not.
Her grandfather always believes in young talents who are burning with their youth.
There is another surprise that he secretly asked the 2 granddaughters to do, which is to fly to the United States to bring this wandering father back.
He seems less aggressive than the last time we met.
Because his ultimate goal is to save his wife and children, he goes to learn all over the world to cook for his wife and children, but in the end, he still can't do anything, and today he has to be here to witness that miracle happen.
Asahi's dish was finished first and brought up. At this point,
who wins and who loses has been determined, but it's also very close as Soma also just finished cooking when the time ran out, making him extremely tired. This time, both of them were sweating, but of course, Soma was more tired because his dish was so elaborate. For the first time, there was a match where the judges appeared after the exam. They are leading assessment experts with many years of experience, only knowing how to eat and talk, not knowing how to cook anything.
I've seen these 2 old women admire Asahi's handsomeness, so there may be favoritism here.
The 3 of them have eaten Soma's dishes too many times, but for Asahi, this is the first time that his plate of food naturally radiates a rich aroma.
Even though it's still covered, it's too attractive to attract attention. The 3 couldn't resist anymore and had to try Asahi's dish first. Just smelling it was irresistible. When it was opened, it was a surprise that it was an extremely beautiful cake, and the arrangement was also very artistic. The 5 best dishes in the world are all gathered in this cake. How beautiful it is doesn't matter, what matters is that it's delicious. Asahi is confident that this is the most delicious dish he can currently make, so Mana will definitely like it. She also believes and tries a meal to see how it is, hoping that it's delicious enough for her not to feel nauseous like other mediocre dishes. The crust of the cake is broken easily and delicately.
Inside the filling, there are many ingredients from different lands, which are essentially each other's opposites. But in this cake, they are very harmonious and make each other more delicious, which couldn't be more subtle.
Everyone thinks that this is the most suitable dish for the theme this time. In addition, the crust of the cake is made with Aishi's technique, so it's even more perfect.
In general, there are so many top techniques put into this that it's impossible to criticize this cake. The theme is something I've never heard of that does all the cooking show for your viewing satisfaction, and I don't care about that much. What's more, there is still something that is the highlight of this unique cake. What kind of cake that can be stretched as long as cheese is that? A mochi cake?
No, it's Turkish ice cream.
It must be admitted that Asahi combines so skillfully that the cake is so delicious that it is irresistible. Those who have tasted it must explode with this top flavor. Exploding in the literal sense, because around the arena, loud noises gradually and constantly started coming out, and everyone's clothes were flying all over this arena.
This is the blessing effect from a certain family.
Mana must have tasted this dish and recognized that it was very delicious. Even the elders have never witnessed a wave of blessings so majestic.
It's probably because this dish is too delicious. Can Soma win this cake? Currently, the judges are too high and don't want to eat anything else.
But their job is to assess fairly, so even if they don't want to, they have to continue eating.
Next is Soma's dish.
Unexpectedly, in contrast to the subtlety of the image and the aroma of Asahi's cake, Soma made a fried rice that looks like it couldn't be more messy. It's already opened, but I still don't smell anything fragrant. Everyone is completely shocked by this dish of Soma, but he always surprises like that. It looks no different from mixed fried rice with all 5 dishes mixed together, but Asahi seems to have realized that there is something wrong with this fried rice. The judges at this time, even when fed into their mouths, didn't want to eat it, but after just one small spoonful of rice, they suddenly became a rice discharging machine, eating like they had never eaten like this before.
If it wasn't delicious, it wouldn't have had such an expression.
All the viewers had a complete shock. At this time, they began to analyze what the hell that fried rice had that made it so delicious. There is nothing special, it's just that people's techniques are high. It looks like fried rice but it's not.
Soma didn't use any oil at all.
He processed it in a very elaborate way, making each grain of rice special.
Not only that, the 5 dishes were also mixed skillfully, not randomly mixed like pig feed. You must understand the ingredients and know what you are doing to be able to combine like that. This fried rice of Soma really makes the judges explode with flavor once again.
They compare this match to a real battlefield.
Asahi is like a knight, and Soma is like a demon king with countless techniques combined to dominate the entire universe.
Comparing like this, you know who wins and who loses. Now it's Mana's turn to try this dish of his and evaluate how it is. Having eaten Asahi's dish, even if she feels nauseous, she must eat the opponent's dish as well. Mana had prepared a bucket so that she could vomit directly on the spot, but this fried rice was so delicious that it was unbelievable. Mana discovered more than the other judges. Even though this fried rice uses a lot of spices, even strong smells, but I don't understand why when I smell it again, I don't smell anything at all. The secret lies in the technique that Soma uses, continuing to take inspiration from the egg that we often see. On the outside, it's an ordinary shell, but when you eat it, it will break, and at that time, what is most quintessence will spill out and seep all over the mouth. The only difference is that this time it's not a big lump like the previous times, but I don't know how Soma makes each grain of rice into a small egg like that. The judges heard this and were also shocked, not believing that these tiny grains of rice were created manually by human hands. Inside it, there is a small, pretty egg roll, but when it breaks, it's impossible to criticize. This level has reached a new level. Now it's the turn of the person who cooked this dish to speak. Soma is starting to talk about principles now, but whatever successful people say becomes a lesson. He said that he learned this odorless fried rice from his mother. This is her favorite dish and also the first dish Soma learned to cook. Although his mother always cooked badly every time, Soma learned more things. He said that Asahi has tasted many flavors, so he can cook delicious food, but for sure, he has never tasted the flavor of failure. But failure is the mother of success, so Soma got this unique fried rice. It sounds very good, but it's really delicious, brothers. Asahi arrogantly thinks that he has never known what failure smells like. A person with talent like him is always at the top and even won against his teacher, but at this moment, throughout the arena, the explosion sound once again came out. It seems that this time it's bigger and wider than the previous time.
Will Soma or Asahi be the winner? I ask for fun, but who doesn't know the answer?
Even though Asahi's pastry was delicious and refined, reaching the pinnacle of the 5 flavors, the dish that created a sensation and stood at the summit of culinary arts was Soma's fried rice. He wasn't just weathering the storm, he was the storm itself, completely in control of the game. The blessings effect was even more powerful than before. People's clothes were not just flying off their bodies, but being torn to shreds.
Seeing this scene, I'm speechless. It's so vulgar and crude, but I love it. Azumi said this was no ordinary blessing wave, this was the phenomenon of explosion recorded in the ancestors' books, occurring once in a millennium. This phenomenon is an evolution of the blessing.
So it's called the holy blessing.
The more I hear, the more nonsense it sounds. I don't see how it relates to anything. Even those sitting far away like Megumi's group were affected. The fact that it spread this far is enough to understand the outcome of this match. Asahi refused to accept this truth. He was indeed talented, but that was the talent of stealing others' copyrights. Beneath that shell, the inside was completely empty. Asahi didn't have his own unique flavor.
That's why he lost to Soma, who always creates his own unique qualities that no one can match. It was forged from experience through battles from the past.
Soma constantly challenged talented people without regard for his own image.
And then he reached the level he is at today. Now it's time for the 3 judges, who are enjoying it to the extreme, to announce the results.
As suspenseful as it is, everyone knows the outcome. Another easy victory for Soma. This is unbelievable. Anyone would have thought they had no chance to win against Asahi, yet Soma did it so convincingly. Everyone is happy for his victory, except for some who aren't too happy, including Irina. More accurately, she's shocked by the unimaginable result.
Asahi also had to accept this result. He wanted to ask Soma to return the knife to Saiba, but he had won and deserved it.
So, if you want to return it, do it yourself. By the way, Soma asked what his purpose was if he married Irina.
It turns out he still has the mind of a child. Saiba once told Asahi that he had lost his passion for cooking until he met his wife.
Cooking for others will make our dishes more soulful and delicious.
Therefore, Asahi aimed straight for the one who possesses the god tongue, because his purpose was to cook better, not cook for others, completely going against what his teacher wanted to impart.
That's due to fate, you can't plan that in advance. Perhaps from now on,
Asahi will focus on finding his own unique flavor rather than relying on others to make his dishes perfect. Coming outside, he met Saiba again, the teacher from the past, who is also like his father. After some brain-boosting advice, Asahi decided to leave Noir and roam the world to find his own identity. Who knows, he might find someone he truly wants to dedicate his talent to. Some loyal subordinates also vowed to follow him, they were saved by him rather than joining Noir from the start.
Everyone is congratulating Soma on his victory.
Even Mana has acknowledged him, so it won't be long before he becomes the winner.
But Mana also said that this isn't the flavor she wants yet. Although it's delicious. Damn, how can she demand so much? Tomorrow will be the final match between Soma and Irina. Who will be the winner of this competition?
We just need to wait and see who brings their dish up first to know.
But Irina doesn't even bother to congratulate or say a word to Soma. I hate girls like this the most. If you don't want to meet, just avoid it. Why intentionally walk past and be annoying?
Later, this married couple finally had a chance to reunite. After many years of separation, the wife left home due to depression with her tongue, while the husband also left to find the most delicious food to save both his wife and daughter. In the end, these two failed people returned to each other.
Let's talk a bit about Azumi's past. Because it's somewhat related to the current Asahi.
Back in the day, when Saiba left, Azumi almost lost his direction, unable to find interest or passion in cooking, even though it was still very delicious. But then one day, someone criticized his cooking, and that was Mana. She said that the flavor was empty, without any vitality, and that just looking at the chef was enough to understand he was gloomy. From then on, Azumi bitterly vowed to make her praise his food as delicious, and that's how it started. Over time, Azumi regained his inspiration for cooking when he had someone he was willing to dedicate all his talent to. But that talent couldn't keep up with the tongue, and Mana became increasingly bored with her daily meals. They both knew that sooner or later Irina would have to endure the same suffering as Mana. That's why she chose to leave to find a way to save the two of them.
And why do I say it's related to Asahi?
Because Saiba felt that the two were very similar, at least they were both gloomy, and Mana, when she ate the pastry earlier, had the same feeling as the first time she ate Azumi's food. He also needs someone to take care of him and guide him during this time.
But why is it Azumi?
If I'm not mistaken, he's the illegitimate child of this guy from who knows when.
The movie is really a fantasy. At this moment, Irina is standing alone and thinking about tomorrow.
She had intended to hand over everything and trust Asahi. But in the end, Soma was the one who won, but for some reason, she doesn't quite trust her friend. Since she was little, she had often cooked for her mother. And although she felt it was delicious, Mana was different. Her mother only praised it as cute and said she liked it, but never praised it as delicious. From that time on, she always lacked confidence and didn't dare to cook for her mother.
But anyway, Irina can't hand it over to Soma. In the match tomorrow, she must win.
Finally, the final showdown has arrived. The two young friends, who were once very close, are now extremely tense, or at least one of them is tense. But no one knows that all of this is part of Irina's grandfather's plan, a plan to cultivate a generation of geniuses to save his family's unhappiness. In this match, Mana will be the direct judge, scoring whose dish is more delicious.
I wonder if there will be any mother-daughter bias here. The theme this time is a dish that has never appeared in the world. It's even harder than the 5 flavors from yesterday. Soma is thinking about what to mix together this time, while Irina has already started preparing the ingredients.
But it's not that she has thought of her new dish, she's just acting on her instincts. We can call it improvising, a spiritual player. Speaking of Irina's grandfather's genius generation plan, he implemented it since Mana left home. He didn't want his granddaughter to have to endure that situation as well, so he researched ancient books day and night, but the ancestors didn't leave anything to help their descendants escape this nonsensical tongue.
Finally, he came up with a plan.
He would let Irina study at Tatsuki Academy and then go find all the other talented children for the school, with the goal of them becoming obstacles for Irina, so that she would try to overcome them to reach the pinnacle of the culinary world. That way, she could cook to satisfy herself and her mother.
An unacceptable plan.
Turns out that after 4 seasons of the film, all of this was the plan of this old man, exploiting everyone for his daughter and granddaughter. Praiseworthy or blameworthy, it doesn't matter, as long as the goal is achieved. But will Irina achieve what her grandfather expects, when her mind is now in the clouds, not focusing on her dish at all? Her hands are cooking out of habit, but she's now very panicked, doubting her own abilities in future. She's bound to fall into despair, a future even darker than the life of Sister Dao, a tragic character in Vietnamese literature.
At this moment, Soma confidently scoops a spoonful of broth to taste. As expected, it's very bland, not like the usual Irina. If that's the case, he'll cook this dish to awaken her. Soma seemed to know what he should cook, but the theme was a dish that had never appeared in the world before. Could it be that easy?
It seemed that this competition wasn't that important. The main thing was for Irina to overcome herself and save both her and her mother. Soma didn't want to see Irina in such a miserable state. He wanted her to return to the beautiful days, to become the arrogant young lady who always criticized others, and to do that, he made this dish specifically for Irina. Everyone was nervously anticipating Soma, but I was too disappointed in this young man. Finishing first meant losing. There was no need to compete anymore. No matter how delicious it was, fate was something that couldn't be changed.
Next up was Soma's dish, again something related to chicken eggs.
This guy really likes eggs from start to finish. He made another bowl for Irina as well. In fact, this was the dish she had cooked in the previous exam. It was what had made Soma so angry because it was so delicious. Now he wanted her to eat it and remember that time, then return to being herself. I won't say much more about this dish, because that's all there is to it. It's delicious, but I don't know why it's delicious. Analyzing dishes I've never eaten is really difficult. After trying a bite, Mana felt the difference. She saw that Soma wasn't like the others. He could cook so well because he had someone to dedicate his talent to. And that was Irina, unlike Azami, who, although he loved his wife and children very much, never cooked a dish that was 100% delicious. Soma, on the other hand, seemed to have no limits. Irina remembered the feelings from before, having overcome countless difficulties together, so this time was just one of them. She ate the bowl of rice with tears in her eyes, secretly thanking Soma for helping her regain her spirit. The person she wanted to cook for the most right now was Mana, the mother who had never praised her cooking, making her feel inferior and afraid every time she did it. But now it was over. Now Irina would cook with all her might to create the most delicious dish in the world to serve her mother. But before that, let's see the new effect of this mother-daughter reunion. A sound was coming from the two of them. It wasn't like the previous times. What other strange effect was this? The sound this time seemed gentler and more airy than before. It didn't make people's clothes fly off, but it gave them a feeling of nakedness that couldn't be more euphoric. Was it a new level of the holy blessing? I don't know what to say about these names that sound so stupid. Even just watching TV was affected, so it's easy to understand. This was a dish so exquisite that through the sound, you could feel what the eater felt, like being in heaven, and the eater was beyond ecstatic, all the way to the roof in the literal sense, guys, because it exploded like this. Whatever nonsense scene had just appeared before our eyes. Irina was still troubled and didn't recognize Soma's dish. On the contrary, she said it was very bad and that she would cook a dish 100 million times better. Finally, Irina had returned to being the arrogant young lady she was before. That was also Soma's purpose in making this dish. He didn't care much about Mana's feelings or these two competitions. Mana also felt that this boy was the one who had saved Irina from the negative things. Now she was cooking for others, so her dish would be very different from before, above all, the joy of cooking and putting all her heart into it. Everyone felt happy seeing Irina's appearance now. It seemed that her grandfather's plan had succeeded as expected. The next day, they held a celebration at the Polar Star dormitory. Soma had won, but it was a victory in the hearts of the fans and in Irina's heart as well, but she still took his button, as I had predicted. Soma was still upset from yesterday. He thought he needed to practice more to open a restaurant, even though with his current abilities, it would be difficult for anyone to match him. Even so, once he had decided, no one could stop him. But today, Irina wasn't there. She was busy at home, reuniting with her family. Today was the day her parents both returned to each other after many years of being apart. The group planned to go to Irina's house to congratulate her, even trying to persuade Soma to come along, but he had left some time ago without anyone noticing, leaving only a small note with scribbled words. Now, let's return to this unstable family. They hadn't been reunited for long when Azami announced another shocking matter. He realized that Asahi was his illegitimate son from long ago. No wonder they were similar, from their gloomy looks to their dirty tricks. Moreover, they even thought alike when Saiba left. That's why, as soon as Asahi didn't know what to do next, he was welcomed by Irina's family. It's a good thing he's an illegitimate son before marrying, or this father would have been beaten badly.
What a terrible person.
Overall, this family is quite stable now, with no one wandering outside anymore.
Or is there? There's still a future son-in-law, isn't there?
Without saying a word, he just left, not knowing when he'll return.
Well, it's half a year later, and Soma returned, much more confident than before.
Now he was ready to open his own store, and the menu would definitely be much more diverse than before.
Oh, but he's still a student at Tatsuki, isn't he? It's not summer vacation. So why did he disappear on his own like that?
It seemed that the other students were carrying the burden of the Elite 10 duties and his studies. He wasn't there, but he was still able to pass.
Only Soma could do that. But more importantly, everyone was now present. Soma wanted his friends to be the first customers at his restaurant.
The video ends here. Don't forget to like, subscribe.
Thank you for watching my video.
Don't forget to click the subscribe button and the notification bell to stay updated when the channel releases a new video.
Thank you.